Good evening and welcome out to tonight's onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank with Tackle Trading. I'll be taking you through the website this evening, kind of letting you know what we're doing, when we're doing it, where you can find it. So hopefully you can get to know us a little bit better if you're a new pro member or if you're just checking us out for the first time. Before we dive right into the action, I want to highlight an upcoming event that we have showing up here tonight at 8:30 Eastern. So about an hour and a half from now, Coach Tyler Craig will be live on this YouTube channel talking option Greeks, Delta, Theta, Gamma, Vega. Going to be talking all about the Greeks and how we can use them from a trader's perspective. Again, it is Monday, the 28th of February, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel. Should be a really informative webinar. Hope everybody has a chance to catch it and enjoy it. When I'm explaining tackle trading, I like to break it down into kind of three parts. The things that you do on your own, things that you do with others, and then our weekend reports. And so that'll kind of be the angle that we come at it here this evening. Let's kind of start with that first bucket there, things that you can do on your own. And that's going to include courses, blogs, some of the different tools that we have in our trade center. In the courses, we have a variety of courses available to all of our pro members. Our 7-step guide to trading is kind of an introduction to the tackle trading way, kind of approach to the market. If you're a newer trader, it can probably give you a little bit of organization and getting your routine up and running. It should also give you a better idea of kind of the approach that we as a unit at tackle trading. I mean, no two traders are the exact same, but philosophically, we do kind of believe in taking that top-down approach, matching the strategy to our bias. We're big watch list traders. So how do we find and maintain and update those watch lists, course planning, placing, managing the trade, and journaling the trade. So this is free to everybody, all of our pro members included. It could be a great place to start, particularly if you're a newer trader. We have an introduction to technical analysis and technical analysis 101. As traders, those charts are our great friends, right? They're going to be a big part of what we're doing and when we're doing it. And the better we are at reading them, probably the easier everything is going to be for us. So just charts and more charts, trends, support, resistance, patterns, candlesticks, the whole 9 yards over in that technical analysis course. Over in the options course, we're really going to talk about what's going on when you buy or sell that contract. What are the factors that are moving it, i.e. those option Greeks, right? Volatility, liquidity, all of that fun stuff. The better we understand what's happening when we buy or sell that contract, I think the easier any strategy that we're using to trade is going to make a lot more sense to us. If you've ever been interested in learning more about the futures or the Forex markets, we have introduction to those markets as well. Those are very leveraged markets, and in many ways, they're very similar to just the good old stock market or any market that you've traded before. But there are definitely some things that we do need to understand within those markets if we are going to trade them. Some people want to trade futures or Forex, and some people don't, and that's great either way. But if you've ever been interested in learning either or both of those markets, this can be a great place to start. No matter what market you're trading, what time frame you're trading, who you are as a trader, how you describe yourself. Most people will say, I'm a swing trader, I'm an option trader, I'm a day trader, I'm a crypto trader, right? Whatever kind of trader you are, it's important to have clearly designed systems and rules in place. And I think everyone agrees with that. The system development is going to help train you to approach your trading from that perspective. It's one thing to say it. Yeah, it's good to have rules. Everybody agrees with that. Another thing to do it, right? And so I cannot recommend the system development course enough, regardless of where you are in the process of trading, a vet or brand new or anything in between. I think it's a fantastic course. You'll definitely learn something out of it. And I think you'll very much enjoy that system development course. You'll notice we do have a handful of premium systems here as well. What these are is they're fully fleshed out systems that are kind of a one-time purchase. Just to let you know quickly what they are, the Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a select group of stocks that we put together each year with the intent to cash flow, through covered calls. Step system is our approach to swing trading the markets, just stands for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow Condor is another cash flow system, this time on the Russell 2000. And the bear market survival guide, kind of protecting ourselves from bearish turns in the market and then dealing with those bearish turns in our overall account once they occur. These are, kind of one-time purchases. The system is yours for life. We do get together once a month with members of each of these teams, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a couple. And I, make this, updates and kind of keep people appraised of kind of what's going on in that side of things. If you'd like more information on any of those systems, you will find it over in the store tab. You can also send us an email to team@tackletrading.com, and we'd be happy to get you some more information. Not everything has to be a course or an hour webinar or anything like that. We do regular blog content, sometimes in written and sometimes in video form. Just another way that we can share ideas, answer questions that members of our community might be having, whether it's more on the charting side, if entails a technician, more on the option side and the option theory, hearing from our awesome female trading community and the women in trading, kind of working with Coach Greg from the ground up over in the rookie corner. So these are going to be, relatively short, 5-minute reads, 12-minute video type of things, but just another way that we can share ideas and bounce things around with members of our community throughout the weeks. Over in the Trade Center, you're going to find a link to the Tackle Trading Playbook, which we're going to come full circle back to here in just a minute. Link to our journals, glossary, our clubhouse, which is kind of an open forum where members of our community can just bounce ideas off of one another and ask questions and what have you. If you go directly into the Trade Center, it'll bring you kind of to a what's up at Tackle Trading page. Kind of most recent post, what's our next webinar, most recent tweet. There's a little watch list if you want to build out your watch list in here, replay or a showing of one of our YouTube shows, a little mini calendar, where you are in any courses that you might be working through. So if you left at module 2, you can pick right back up without having to dig around where exactly did I leave. There's also a variety of tools in here. There's a link to the market skyline. In here, you're going to just kind of find all of the big stuff in one place, right? So you're going to find the charts for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell futures, Bitcoin, the VIX, the emerging market, the all world ETF, just the big stuff, right? And the major commodities, silver, gold, copper, crude, etc., as well as the sector Spyder ETFs. Just these are an important part of the daily routine and of the top-down analysis that we put such emphasis on here at Tackle Trading. It doesn't have to be on this page, but I would certainly encourage you, if you're not doing so already, to incorporate, looking at all of these each day. I think it will give you a better perspective on the overall market, what's standing out, what's a mess, what do you have no read on whatsoever. Very important part of the routine. There's also a link to the Finvis heat maps in here. This little button right here will take you there. This will just bring you to finvis.com for the S&P 500 for today. And this is just a different visual of the day that was. What areas were in the red? What areas were in the green? Does anything stand out? Just another way to potentially generate some ideas. While the default is set to a one-day performance, you can customize it a little bit, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, certain fundamental ratios. So there's a little customization there in that Finvis scanner if you are interested. You'll find a link to a news aggregator. This is going to go through some of the bigger financial sites and kind of gather the headlines and just kind of, as you can kind of see here, get them in one organized place where I can just kind of easily kind of read that story's not interesting to me. Oh, that one is. That one's not interesting. That's not interesting. Oh, that one is, right? So I can easily just kind of quickly browse and read stories that I find interesting and worth reading. That's certainly subjective for sure, but this is really designed to save you a bunch of time bouncing around between different sites. As you can kind of see here, CNBC, Market Watch, Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. So it's going to kind of go into a bunch of the different sites and just get it in kind of one location for you. You'll find a link to the economic calendar so you can see what's on the docket for the trading day or for the trading week. So you can be aware of any economic reports that might impact your trading one way or another. You'll find a link to our market reports, which you'll also find in this drop down, and we'll talk about here in a few. You'll find another link to our trade journals. As we saw, you'll find a link to them in the drop down of the Trade Center. But if you come to it when you're in the Trade Center, like we are right now, it will bring you, I've always preferred to go this way personally because it takes you directly to the tutorial. And if you need a little bit of help on it, you won't be the first and it won't be the last. It's it can take a little getting used to, especially if you're not a spreadsheet person. I know that one from experience. So you'll find a little tutorial in here. And if you do come into the journals this way, you can still download them in here. Just the trade journal is kind of what you kind of are probably thinking. We let it know what we did, when we did it, and how much of it we did, right? And when we got out of that trade, it's going to do the rest, track our profit loss, how long we were in the trade, our average win, our average loss, our bottom line, all of that fun stuff. You're also going to find the Theta research tool. This is where we can build and compare our different cash flow candidates. Say, for example, we might have 5 candidates for a bull put spread, but we only want to do 2 trades, right? Well, how can we compare them fairly? Right? We want to do that, or at least I would hope. So Theta Research Tool will let you do that. It is a very, very powerful tool for our cash flow strategies. And then the portfolio journal, just overall keep you organized, right? Again, if you come into the trade journals like we just did here in the Trade Center, just select whichever one you want, and you can download it directly from this page. You can, again, find them in the drop down there as well. Couple other things, link to the compounding gains calculator just to give you a visual of the compounding powers of money, a chart if you ever need one, another link to our glossary, a link to our search tool, which is also this little magnifying glass up here. And it is a pretty smart search tool. So if you're ever looking for more information on something, say covered call or whatever, never hesitate to reach out. But a lot of times you'll find a lot of information just by doing a quick search. It is pretty smart. You'll find a link to our friends over at tradingjustice.com here as well. Each week, Coach Matt, Tim, and Mark put together the Trading Justice podcast, a really informative financial podcast, a really good listen. Definitely would encourage you to check it out. You can find it directly at tradingjustice.com or on any of your podcast providers, however you like to listen to it. There's also a really nice monthly newsletter that you'll find over at tradingjustice.com as well. That's definitely worth reading. That is tradingjustice.com. This link will take you there. While we're talking podcasts, you will also find a link to the Huddle podcast, which is the top 10 stories of the trading week that we put together each at the end of each week, just to make sure you didn't miss anything, right? You probably maybe didn't, but maybe you did. Maybe it was a busy week. Maybe you were out of town. Just quick, efficient, no bias, just to let you kind of know the big stories that were on the market's mind this past week. That is the Huddle podcast, the link right up here at tackletrading.com. Back in the Trade Center, if you go into the playbook, this is where you're going to find the strategies, all of our strategies, how to do them, and what the rules are for those strategies. We're going to break our strategies into 3 core areas based off of the option Greeks, Delta, Theta, and Vega. So our Delta is our directional playbook. This would be buying or selling stock short. This would be buying calls, buying puts. This would be doing bull call debit spreads, bear put debit spreads, basically movement-based strategies. I think the stock's going from point A to point B, from 50 to 60, from 75 to 70, and I want to capture that movement. Then you have the Theta Playbook. This is our cash flow where we're selling those options. This is where we're selling naked puts, selling covered calls, selling credit spreads, bringing in that premium and taking advantage of that time decay. And then lastly, the Vega or the Volatility Playbook. This is where we're playing our expectation of volatility, right? Say company XYZ tends to make pretty wild moves on its earnings. There's no way that any of us can know what it's going to do on its next earnings season, but maybe based off of its history, we can think, you know what, it usually moves a lot, probably is going to move a lot one way or another again. We can build a trade that reflects that bias, right? Or maybe the market thinks it's going to move a lot, but we look at it and say, well, these guys never do that. We'll play that side of it. So we're playing the expectation of volatility. It's going to be straddles and strangles and things of that nature. In all of these, there will be a detailed video kind of going through what the strategy is, why we would choose it, rules for the strategy, all of that fun stuff. They'll also find a little cheat sheet, downloadable PDF, so you always have easy access to those rules. How much time am I buying or selling? What's my delta rule? All of that fun stuff. Just an easy access on this little download there. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook, and that's going to kind of wrap up that first portion of tackle trading, kind of things that you can do on your own. Let's talk about things that you can do with others, or the schedule, right? So we start every market morning here at Tackle Trading at 11 a.m. Eastern over in our Traders Lounge. It's a place where every member of our pro community can come in, bounce ideas around, get questions answered, get help if they need it. Very laid back. Everybody's questions matter around here, whether it's a, kind of a newbie question or a very advanced question or anything in the middle. Everybody's on the same page here. Everybody's happy to help out and in any way that they can. That's 11 a.m. Eastern every market morning. Traders Lounge. Typically, we're not going to record this one, but we will record snippets and get them posted in here for folks to catch up a little bit as well. So that's kind of the start of our day here at Tackle Trading, at least for as far as content is concerned, live content is concerned, 11 a.m. Eastern for our Traders Lounge. Shortly after that Traders Lounge, we're going to head back over here to our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern to do the halftime report, live looking at the market, talk about what's going on today, how it's impacting our charts, stocks in the news, work through that top-down analysis, look at our indexes, look at our major commodities, talk sectors, all of that fun stuff to make sure that we're all staying on top of the giant story that is the market. That is 12:30 p.m. Eastern every market day here on this YouTube channel, live at 12:30. And of course, being on YouTube, once the show is over, it does automatically populate to our channel. So every single market day, whether it's here at Tackle Trading in the Traders Lounge or over here on our YouTube channel at 12:30 for the halftime report, we will be talking through the markets with members of our community. Then our evening schedule. Let's kind of start with the coaches show. On Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do the coaches show. The coaches show is a lot of fun because it really lets us to take a really deep dive into one of the many things that we can talk about as traders, right? There's a lot that we can talk about. We can talk about trading particular patterns like, high bases or bull flags, right? We can talk about a particular indicator like moving averages or RSI. We can talk strategies, when to go with a long call versus a bull call. We can talk routine. We can talk portfolio design, right? We can talk charts. There's a lot of things that we can talk about. And the coaches show really allows us an opportunity to dial in, get really focused, and have an in-depth conversation on one of those things, right? Because most of those things take some time to kind of, properly work through, at least in my opinion. They do. That's the coaches show. I would probably consider that the flagship show at Tackle Trading here personally. That's on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It is live, but it is also recorded and archived. So if you can't make it, or if you need to rewatch it, or if you want to watch an old episode on something that you find interesting, very easy to find there in the archives. On Thursday night, once again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our cash flow club. This is going to be a little more narrowly focused in the sense the name kind of gives it away probably, right? It's really going to be focused exclusively on building and managing those cash flow trades. We certainly as a community are fans of cash flow here at Tackle Trading, I would say. So, building and managing credit spreads, building and managing condors, building and managing covered calls and the like. Just like the coaches show, it is live on, of course, on Thursdays. It's live, but it is on Thursdays. Easy to find the archives. Can always catch it later if it is more convenient to do so. On Wednesday night, we kind of do a twofer. Here on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern, we do our Trade Masters webinar, where a couple of us coaches will come together with some trade ideas, a Delta trade idea, a Theta trade idea, and a wild card idea, just to kind of have some fun and maybe beef up our midweek watch list, right? Sometimes you got plenty of things to trade on a Wednesday night, and sometimes you don't. And so there's never a bad way to get a trade idea. A couple of us coaches will get together, bounce them around with our community. Our community will vote for whose ideas they like the most. And at the end of it, that person is the trade master. But really, it's just a lot of fun. It's a great way to be able to share ideas with members of our community. So that's live on our YouTube channel Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then shortly after that, we're going to head back over here to Tackle Trading. I'm going to hop over to the events calendar here real quick. At 8:30 Eastern, we are going to do our Traders Lounge nightly edition. That's Wednesdays at 8:30 Eastern. It's going to be very similar to our morning trading lounges, except we're just coming out of the Trade Masters webinar. So if any of our community has any questions or needs to dive a little deeper into any of the things that we discussed in that webinar, we'll certainly take the time to do that as well. So Trade Masters on our YouTube channel on Wednesdays at 7 Eastern, Nightly Lounge on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, back over here at Tackle Trading. As I mentioned a little earlier, we do offer those different systems: Tackle 25, Step System, Condors, Bear Market Survival Guide. And one of the things that we do with members of each of those teams is once a month we get together in a mastermind group and talk what's going on with that style of trading and those systems. We invite all of the members of our pro community to join us, whether you have picked up the Step System web or not. You are certainly welcome to join Coach Matt here in about 10 minutes in this week's Step System Mastermind if you are a pro member. So it's, if you are a pro member, but not sure if that's something that you're interested in, want to learn a little bit more about it, we certainly, invite you to join us in any of those mastermind groups. Once a month, we'll be meeting with each members of those, right? So this week it's the Step System, maybe next week it's the Tackle 25, and then the next week it's the Condors, etc. So we have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading, and they get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. It tends to be towards the end of the month, but don't take my word for it. I don't get to go, right? I'm not a woman in trading, and that's okay. Fellas, we'll all have to find something else to do that. But we have an awesome team of female traders with us here. So if you are a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, definitely keep an eye out for that. We'll make sure we let you know when the next one is coming up. I've no doubt that you have a great time and learn quite a bit hanging out with the awesome ladies of Tackle Trading in that Women in Trading Mastermind group. Kind of an overly simplified way to think about it is to think the lounge is really for our community's needs, their questions, their struggles, what they need help with, right? Whatever that might mean, it's really all about you in that morning lounge. And then the halftime report is really all about that daily routine, staying on top of the market, working through top down, day by day by day. And then the evening courses are where we can take that deeper dive into these subjects, kind of put that teacher's hat on a little bit, and just go a little bit deeper, if you will, in the evening shows. And that is certainly an overly simplified approach to it, I would say, but because there's always a little bit of crossover in everything, right? But as you're maybe getting used to getting to know us, getting to know that schedule, maybe that can help keep it a little bit organized. And again, this event's calendar will let you know what's coming up, get you the link for it, all of that fun stuff as you get to know us a little bit better. So that is going to kind of wrap up part 2, the things that you can do with others. Let's talk a little bit about part 3, our weekly reports. On Fridays, as the markets wind down, as coaches, we're all getting together and talking markets, talking sectors, talking commodities, talking trade setups, all of that fun stuff in what we refer to as our scouting report meeting. And out of that scouting report meeting comes our weekend reports. We'll get these delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to go through them before the market opens back up. The Tackle newsletter, the stock option and commodity report. The newsletter is, kind of, again, step 1 of the 7-step guide to trading is start at the top of the markets. And that's really exactly what we're doing each week in this newsletter. Hey, the week that was, right? What happened last week? What did it do to our charts? What did it do to the volatility? What was on the market's mind, right? All of that fun stuff. Look at the upcoming economic calendar. There will be a video going over all of this stuff with you as well. In here, you will find where we are kind of in the overall market: S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. You'll find the ETFs that correspond with those: DIA for the Dow Jones, QQQ for the NASDAQ, IWM for the RUT, and SPY for the S&P 500 if you need them. A look at the internals of the market. This is going to look at over 8,000 stocks, who's making new highs, who's making new lows, advanced decliners, just to kind of look under the hood a little bit, if you will, of the market each week. Each week, we're going to rank the different sectors based off of what we're seeing on the stocks that make up those sectors. You're going to notice a couple things here. Number 1, we're going to be using the sector Spyder ETFs. If you're not familiar with them, these are ETFs. You can find more information about them at the website, at the ETF provider's website, which is just sectorspdr.com. These, what they do effectively is they go into the S&P 500 and pull out stocks just in the sector. So energy, for example, XLE, go into the S&P 500, pull out just the energy stocks and put them into a portfolio. Because it's based off of the S&P 500, which is a weighted index. These are also going to be weighted accordingly. You can find more information about all of that at the ETF provider's website. But you'll notice that we're using them on our scoreboard. We're not ranking specifically based off of what XLE looks like. That's a small part of it, but we're really looking at the stocks that comprise those ETFs, the companies that make them make up those ETFs. You'll also notice that we've got our growth sectors. That's going to be technology, discretionary, and communications, represented in blue-ish here. Then we're going to have our cyclical sectors, financials, industrials, basic materials, and energy, represented in gold. And then our defensive sectors, healthcare, staples, real estate, and utilities, represented in this purplish, plumish color, whatever color that is. It looks plum to me, but I don't know if that's right. So you'll notice that they're grouped. You'll also notice that we put this on a football field. So each week, based off of what we're seeing on the companies that make up these sectors, we're going to be moving them up or down, or maybe not moving them at all if nothing has really changed, just depending on what we're seeing on what's going on under the hood of those ETFs, right? To kind of let our team know kind of where we are overall in these different sectors, how we're seeing it. Again, we'll kind of talk you through kind of the thought process in the video portion of this newsletter. But as you can see, it's on a football field, and so between the 40s is neutral with a skew, right? Slightly bearish, slightly bullish. Between the 20 and the 40 is going to be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. And then, between the 20 and the goal line, you're going to be bullish or bearish. It's going to be really unlikely that you're going to see us put an entire sector into negative or positive 3 territory. That's just not really who we are. Personally, I've never done it, and I don't imagine, you never say never, but I don't imagine I ever will do that. It's very difficult to put an entire sector that aggressive one way or the other. Individual stocks, oh yeah, all the time. I'm a plus or minus 3 on an individual trade setup, but sector wise, it's a little more aggressive than we are. Like I said, never say never, but it will be very unlikely in the event that you do ever see it. It's like football, right? You get into that 20-yard line, it's tough to score touchdowns, at least in the NFL usually it is. Again, there's the sector Spyder ETFs if you need to add them for your watch list or anything. At the end of our meeting, we end it with what we call our rapid fire segment. All of us coaches will share our favorite trade setups going into the upcoming week from our reports. Just kind of let our team know kind of what we like and what we like about it. Fun way to end the meeting and fun way to share ideas with the team. We do have our own Discord, our Team Tackle Discord, available to all of our pro members. You can join that Discord channel right in here in the newsletter. It's a great way, another way to connect with your team, bounce ideas around with members of the community, be it coaches or other, members of our community. It's a lot of fun. Definitely encourage you to come join us if you're a pro member over on our Discord. Friendly little reminder to match the strategy to the situation, right? If you're, neutral, you're probably not doing a whole lot of short-term long calls, right? And you say it on a Monday night, it's like, well, yeah, no duh, right? But on Tuesday at 11:43, when the market's rocking and rolling, maybe I need a friendly reminder. Never a bad thing. You'll find a pre-built scanner in here. So if a particular sector has caught your attention for one reason or the other, whether it's bullish, bearish, or potentially neutral, and you want to take a closer look in a very quick and efficient manner at some stocks within that space, I'll just go to energy here. I'm just going to click this charts button here. It's going to bring us back to Finvis. As you can kind of see here, it's going to give us a bunch of stocks. I'm not going to try to build a trade off of this, but I can look at HP and I can see, wow, that big top broke out today, right? Technically speaking, that looks a lot like a breakout to me. Maybe I want to go take a look at it in an actual charting platform and see if there's something I might want to prep going into tomorrow, right? These are what I consider trader-friendly stocks. And what I mean when I say that is they're very liquid, so it's very easy to trade shares. They're borrowable, so we can short if that's the direction we're trying to trade. They're all optionable, Now, just because a stock has options doesn't mean those options are super liquid. We definitely will want to double check. I will say as a whole, these things are pretty option friendly, but there are definitely names in each and every one of these different sector scans that I personally, at least, would never trade options on. And that's okay. I can trade equity, especially us here in the States. Most of us have $0 commissions on stocks and ETFs. So not such a huge deal anymore, but be through options or stock, I'm going to be able to build a trade on something that I find in any of these scans. And it's just a really helpful way to kind of quickly scroll through, see if anything stands out, go take a closer look at it. Very helpful, at least in my opinion, very helpful. Quick look at the world, and just a final thought going into the upcoming week. So that is the Tackle newsletter. Always where I think you want to start, because you start at the top of the market, right? You don't finish at the top of the market. Coach Mark does our commodity report for us. He does a great job keeping our team up to date on, the fundamentals, the technicals, and the themes of the commodity markets, gold, crude, copper, etc. Even if you're not trading over in the futures market, where traditionally that's where folks trade commodities, right? There's a lot of things we can do through the equity market, whether it's trading, stock or options, to take advantage of situations that are happening in the world of commodities. Definitely worth catching, even if you're not a futures trader, in my opinion. Coach Mark does a great job keeping folks up to date with what's going on over in that world. Our stock and option report are going to be built very similar to one another. Each week, we want to make sure members of our team have some good quality trade setups going into the upcoming week. As I said, the big, early, we're watch list traders here at Tackle Trading. And so each week we're going to share some potential bull setups and some potential bearish setups in our report. These are going to be from a swing trading perspective, unless we know otherwise. These are kind of swing trading candidates. Where it's really going to differ, because that's going to be true in the stock report and the option report, where it's really going to differ is in the stock report, these things might not have super liquid options. Maybe they're really low priced, maybe both. But for one reason or other, at least as a collective group of coaches here, we prefer these from a stock perspective. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't go check the option liquidity, see if it was something you were comfortable with. And if you prefer to go that route, no big deal, right? But sometimes, I will say this, sometimes the reason something's on the stock report instead of the option report is simply because of option liquidity. The stock's plenty liquid, but for whatever reason, the options aren't. And if you've ever been stuck in an illiquid option, you do not need me to tell you that it's not fun. There's no reason to put ourselves through that, right? Whereas over in the option report, every candidate in there, at least all of us coaches, we all have to sign off on it. And it's a general rule. It's either a yes or no, right? So, that liquidity is great, or that liquidity's, I wouldn't touch those. That's usually how it goes. But everything in the option report is something that we as coaches would feel comfortable trading options on. Also going to talk a little bit in the video that's going to be a little bit different too. In the stock report, going to talk a little bit more kind of about process, right? Charts, resistance, breaks, stop losses, entries, that type of stuff, because we're really focusing on it from a technical point of view. In the option report, again, those same things are every bit as important, right? But we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy selection. This might be a scenario because of the high IV where selling the options would make more sense than buying the options. This might be a situation where a poor boy covered call makes sense. So, in the video portion of the reports, definitely going to notice a little bit of difference in there as well, because we're talking about two different tradable instruments. But at the base level, everything is built around some potential swing trading setups. We want to make sure our community has a good quality watch list to work out of each and every week. Probably like most of us here, you'll like some of the setups and won't like some of the setups, and that's perfectly normal, right? There's, again, never a bad way to find a trade idea, but we do want to make sure that our team has some ideas each and every week. As you can kind of see here, we do use have the trading view charts embedded into these reports. Couple of quick notes just to make using them a little easier for you. I think you can hide the watch list just by smacking this widget button. Smack it again, it'll come back. Your trend line tool is going to be up here, so you can kind of draw trend lines. So you can kind of see here on Cisco, they're kind of trying to break out of a triple top, right? Trying to break out of a long-term resistance level. You can find your trend line there. If it's applicable, you can, of course, draw an actual trend line. Your default is going to be on a daily time frame, but you can change it to hourly or 15 minutes or weekly, depending on what you need to look at. It is set up to candlesticks because that's what most of us trade these days. But if you are one of the holdouts that still prefer bar charts, you can easily just switch it over to bar charts right here. If you want to add an indicator or two, you can add them just in this indicator button. It's not going to save them. So before you add, a whole bunch of indicators, do be aware that anything that you add when you leave this page, you come back, they're not coming back with you. So don't get too carried away. And if you do, at least know that when you leave, they're not coming back with you. And then you're going to find right in here, this is where you have your prep tool for long or short trades. Since this is a bullish breakout, I'm going to go to the long side of things, and I'm not going to get too crazy or specific, but I'm just going to say, for argument's sake, I want to come in at, just above this 2-day high here at 87.72, since that's where I'm at. I've got a target price in mind of $94. And now I can kind of say, well, I'd like to put my stop loss below that low from Friday. How's that going to look? Risk to reward wise, for every dollar I'm risking, I have $2.49 in potential return here. I can kind of see, well, what happens if I used today's low for my stop loss instead? What does that do to my risk to reward? Maybe my target's 94, but yours is 92. You can kind of say, well, my rules would say that, today's low would work for a stop loss and Fridays wouldn't, because I want at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So just really helpful, save you a little bit of time, help you visualize the trade, let you know what your risk to reward ratio is, all of that fun stuff. And again, that's right in here for both long and short trades. Of course, there's a lot of other things you can do over on those trading view charts, but just kind of wanted to highlight a couple of the big ones. Again, kind of coming full circle here, we want to make sure our team is ready to rock and roll each and every trading week, whether they're trading stock, options, commodities, all of the above, cash flow traders, whatever. We want to make sure that everybody is set up for a good, productive week in the market. We will get these delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to go through any or all of them before the market opens back up. As we get wrapping up here, just the last couple of things. Our tackle today is our daily email. You can get that email. You can sign up for it just directly in Tackle today. Sign up right here. It's also going to be posted in here. If you prefer to read it in here, it will be delivered to your inbox faster, but you can read the daily email in here as well. Just a quick, little rundown going into the trading day, as well as a lineup for what's going on here at Tackle Trading each and every day to help you keep a little bit more organized. We are active on all of the different social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. If you're using those platforms, I certainly invite you to join us here on our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of live content very regularly. Every market day, we're doing the halftime report. We've got a Trade Masters webinar on Wednesday nights. We do a lot of special webinars, like Coach Tyler's webinar on the Greeks coming up here in about 50 minutes. So got a lot of live content over there, but we also have a lot of, how-tos, walkthroughs, thinkorswim tutorials over on our channel as well. It is always helpful for us, and we certainly do appreciate it if you do give us a subscribe and hit that notification bell. It definitely helps us, and hopefully it helps you get alerted anytime we're going live or adding anything new or anything along those lines. At the end of it all, as we get wrapping up here, tackle trading is really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we're doing each and every week, but fundamentally, we're just a group of traders that have come together to help each other out, have each other's back, talk through ideas, share experiences, share what's working, right? That's really what it is. At least to me, I love being part of this community. I love having traders to talk to in a variety of ways, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter or in Discord or in the coaches show. A lot of ways to talk with other traders. And I think that's very, very invaluable. I hope you have a great time here at Tackle Trading. If you're a new pro member, I certainly welcome you to the team, and it's great to have you here with us. I will certainly be seeing you around. If you're not a pro member and just checking this out, certainly appreciate you as well, and would like to welcome you to the team. We do have a standing offer of a free 15-day trial. You can find that in the description of any of our YouTube videos or over in the store tab. We can get you set up with a trial, see if it's something that would be a good fit for you. If it is, awesome. If it's not, that's okay. At least you try. So certainly invite you to join us there. as well. Appreciate everybody spending some time going through this this evening. Do keep in mind that Coach Tyler will be going live here at 8:30 Eastern, talking Greeks on the options. If you're an option trader or if you're interested in options, I will tell you this, those Greeks are important, and it's really every strategy gets a lot easier to work with when you understand why it does what it does, because those options can be a little confusing. If you're an option trader, you remember what it was like when you were learning it. So it should be really informative webinar. Hope to see you there live. If you can't make it live, it will be posted to the channel as soon as the webinar is over. You can catch it at a more convenient time. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you get out of here this evening, but welcome to Tackle Trading. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Have a great week, both in and out of the market. And I have no doubt I'll be seeing you all again one way or another very, very soon.